Hello and good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning, wherever it is where you're at. My name is Daniel Parent and I'm the Systemaniac. So most of you have watched some of my previous videos, which would be the 90 degrees of banking, my tri-tip banking, my professional safety system, or getting comfortable with missing the ball. And then I took a 6-month break. Well, now I'm back and now I'm getting started again. I will tell you that my time was very well spent. During that time, I actually got to delve into more of the instructional side for myself, some of the coaching from other players, and also I've made some new discoveries, some things about like how to run out effectively. And in fact, it's so big that I decided to write a book called The Runout Formula. Now, it is not complete. It is actually just in the writing phase now. But it is jam-packed with information that you're going to love and that's going to really supercharge your game. Speaking of supercharging your game, I want to show you a drill that will really improve your game. Your position play, your tip placement, your ball handling. You're going to be able to get anywhere you want on the table, and this is where it starts. So the way that this drill works, you have the 9 ball that's in the middle of the table. You have the cue ball that is always going to be on the spot, which looks like I'm a little high, but that's fine. Okay, so the goal of this drill is to help you to get anywhere you want to on the table from this position. So what we do is we start with the cue ball here on the spot. We start with the 1 ball here, okay? And the only goal we have is to make sure that we stay on what we call the positive side of the line, the positive side of the ball. So now the positive side of the ball is one of the biggest things that I'm actually pushing in my book called The Runout Formula. It's one of the most major but simple things that you can do, because think about what positive means. On the positive side, everything is easier. Ball pocketing is easier, position play is easier, speed control is easier to determine. So everything's good on the positive side. And what do I mean by the positive side? Now, the positive side of the ball is just this. Find the straight in line to the pocket, and then find a way to position your cue ball in such a way that it's floating towards your nearest rail. So when the pros talk about getting to the middle of the table, this is the part that they don't explain, is why. The reason they get to the middle of the table is because you can get anywhere you want on the table relatively easily, a lot easier than being on the negative side. Now, what is the negative side of the ball? If this is the straight in line to the pocket, then the negative side would be on this side. Anywhere from straight in to this side is the negative side of the ball. And why is it negative? Because, again, the exact opposite of the positive side. The ball pocketing is easier, position play is more difficult, speed control is more difficult. Let me give you an example. Let's do something extreme here. Shooting this 1 ball into this pocket is twice as hard from this side than it is from this side, okay? So what we want to do is just get to the positive side on every one of these shots, starting from position 1 to the 2. So once you get positioned on the positive side of this ball, then we're going to reposition the table. We're going to put the cue ball back on the spot. We're going to move the 2 ball in the position where the 1 is, and we're going to try to shoot from the 2 to the 3 ball onto the positive side. And we're going to keep doing that until we get down to the 8 ball. Okay, so starting from the 1 to the 2. And the only goal, like I said, is to stay on the positive side of the ball. If that's good, we've replaced the cue ball back on the spot, put the 2 ball here. Now we play position from the 2 to the 3. We want to play this out 2 rails and make sure that we cross back over this line. Okay, it's perfect. From the 3 to the 4. We're going to cross 3 rails on this one. 1, 2, 3 rails. And the reason we're aiming for the 3rd rail is because it gives us about a 2-foot margin for error. Meaning, if I want to aim here or so and I get short, I can end up here. If If I go long, I might end up here, but also it allows me this extra space here. So if I miss, I have this extra 2 feet where I can still be good. So going 3 rails, 1, 2, 3, back over. Perfect. We are on the positive side of the ball. Now, you'll notice that the 4 balls down here are basically the same shot with very, very slight variances. Just a little bit more speed, a little bit more power. But when you get to going up table from this position, then things get a little bit trickier. So now here's the straight line to the pocket. The negative side is this side. The positive side is this side. We want to try to find a way to get on this side of the ball. Now we have to make a decision because we have the 9 ball in the way. Do we want to go above the side pocket and risk scratching? Or do we want to play this below the side pocket and play it safe and just rely on our speed control? This is preference, but in my opinion, I think you should play this ball from below the side pocket and just take your medicine if something happens. So what I'm going to do is, let me give you a little physics real quick on the ball. So if you needed to come back up table from a straight in position, like directly behind this shot, would be strictly draw. So you would just draw straight back, right? And if you were exactly middle of the road straight across from this ball, then you wouldn't try to draw off this ball because the draw wouldn't take it, would just run off the rail and back. So you would use strictly side spin. Now in this position, you are somewhere in that middle ground. So you need to be looking at the middle ground. So you're not looking at drawing the ball here, and you're not looking at strictly side spin here. So it'll be somewhere in this area to be able to get this ball to come back up table. All right. So we're going to be looking at roughly, to get it to here, maybe a tip left and a tip low. Let's try that. Then we cross. Just barely. I don't like it. I think I can do better. So I'm going to try to come a little bit higher. And again, let me remind you that when you're straighter, when you have a straighter angle on the ball to come backwards, you have to use more draw. If you have more angle, you use more side spin to come up table. The side spin is what's going to bite off this rail, not the draw or even the high. So let's try this with 1.5 tips of left spin. Okay, and perfect. Now we're going to do the same shot for the 6 ball. We want to play this below the side pocket as well. The other reason we play below the side pocket on the 5 ball is because the moment you cross this side pocket, it's a little easier. It's a lot easier to get out of line and overrun your position. So playing it here is safer. So now I'm going to introduce a touch of low and about a tip and a half left spin. Okay, we're on the positive side. Perfect. Now we want to start playing this above the side pocket, though. This is going to be a little bit trickier. Now the goal of this drill is to get harder and harder as you progress through the rotation. Okay, and this is just position 1. There are still 4 other positions, which I'll go over in just a second. So it's basically a 45 ball drill if you made them all perfect the first time, which I don't know that I could do that. Okay, so we're going to play this a little bit higher. So I'm going to introduce a little bit more low and a little bit more side spin. Then let's call it 2 tips left and a tip and a half low. Oh, didn't bite. Now this is going to happen a lot. The missing ingredient here is that I actually have to throw the ball in. So what we're going to do, we're going to aim a little bit thicker into the ball and cut it to the inside of the pocket or even to the rail. and let that bite off there. So what that'll do is that gives me a thicker hit on the 6-ball, which also allows the tangent line to open up enough, because you're really close to the rail here and I have really slick cloth, so it's kind of tough for me to get up table and it's hard for the spin to bite. So we're going to dig a little deeper into the 6-ball and really focus on our stroke and allow that to be what gets us up table. There we go. It's a little firm, but that's about what we want right there. And the last shot is the exact same. We have to dig into the 7-ball a little bit thicker and throw it in with spin while allowing that tangent line to open up with the thicker hit. Good positive connection. Oh, I told you this is going to happen a lot. And again, we're on the hardest ball right now. I think when I first tried this drill, that ball took me, on this table, probably took me about, I don't know, 10 tries or so to get up table. There we go. Let's get on the positive side. Very much speed control at this point. Perfect. And then the last one is from the 8 to the 9, and this is again speed control and controlling your angle. You just have to make a decision. You can play it both ways. You can go 1, 2, possibly 3 rails, or you can try for the 2 rail position or 1 rail over to here. So this is really preference. I'm going to try for here first. That's about a tip and a half of left spin. Okay. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do left side spin and run from there, here, and back over. So we're going to do it at about, let's call it a half tip. Actually, let's call it a tip. Let's do a tip and see what that does. Okay. Not ideal. I think I'm going to try it again. That's playable, but it's not ideal. I don't want to run towards the other side pocket though, so it's kind of like, you know, pick your poison. So let's go with a tip and a quarter of side spin. It's a little bit thicker hit. Okay. I can live with that. All right, so that's the drill. That's position 1. Now, if you want to really get into this, we're going to move to position 2. Okay, so when I talked about the 5 positions down here, this is what I meant. So we played everything from position 1. Now we'll move to position 2, which would be our starting point for everything, and then we'll kind of move around. Position 3 is a straight in shot, so that all you're doing is drawing to position. So again, all we're trying to do is focus on getting on the positive side. So once we get done with this position, we move the 1 ball to position 2, and we start our run. We're going to run the same pattern. You'll notice that when the ball is a little bit farther off the rail, like it is there, the shots change somewhat dramatically because you're able to hit the ball a little bit harder. You can control the speed a little bit better because it's not directly coming to a rail immediately afterwards. It's got a little bit of a lag. So we're going to play for position and speed control, staying on the positive side. And since you're familiar with the drill, I'm just going to go ahead and play these out. Again, you will notice that you have a little more control of your cue ball from here because you can hit the ball a little bit more naturally, harder, and you can control that off the rail a little bit better. You also don't have to run them so many rails when you're trying to play position for the throw ball. 1 rail in and out.
It's Kelpie Vibes.
Yeah.
Baby, you know that I'm in a choco. Baby, you know that I'm in a choco. Baby, you know that I'm in a choco. Angelina, you the cool in my temperature. If you call, I go come deliver. I no go fall in your hand never. So now me you could love forever. I'm a cocky no feeble letter. I'm a Angelina, with my Angelina. Oh me all down. Anytime when I see you for the club or the television, your body. Sure you know say the thing when you carry 50 kill somebody. You know I feel a vibe, you feel a vibe, so baby whine about me. Yeah, and I know you shy, but it's cool when we're making love. On the low, 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 on the low. Angelina, you the cool in my temperature. If you call, I go come deliver. I no go fall in your hand never. So now me you could love forever. I'm a cocky no feeble letter. I'm a Angelina, I'm a Angelina. Oh no, so when I want to come out, make a signal you. Why you want to request on me like I interview?
Alright, so that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. I super appreciate it. You have to forgive me, I'm a little out of practice here. But hopefully in the next coming videos, you will start to notice some improvement in your game as well as my game. And yeah, I look forward to seeing it. Stay tuned.
Young Moolah, baby. You thought it was over?